An 18-year-old student athlete by the name of Nolan Wells went out on a boat trip with his friends to celebrate the 4th of July. He went missing. He was the only one out of his friends to not return ashore, and a body believed to be his was later discovered. So what happened? Nolan Wells was only 18 years old. He graduated high school just last year in 2025, and he was a rising sophomore wide receiver on the football team at Southwest Mississippi Community College. Every single person who knew Nolan, who has come forward to speak about the kind of person that he was, has nothing but good things to say. One of his coaches described him as someone whose, quote, character spoke louder than his accomplishment. His high school principal called him, quote, a remarkable student, teammate, and brother. And his parents have stated that they raised him with a specific set of values, including loyalty and accountability, especially when it came to being with a group. His father would later emphasize that in an interview, making it clear that Nolan Wells knew that if he left with a group of 5, he always came back with 5. They raised him to always be careful, aware, and intentional about always staying with the group that he was with. On the morning of July 4th, 2026, Nolan Wells and a group of friends set out by boat for Horn Island, an island in Jackson County, Mississippi. Horn Island is only accessible by private boat. It doesn't have anything around it. It's beautiful, but it is completely isolated. For the 4th of July weekend, people go out to enjoy the water, and that day, Nolan was one of them. According to authorities, Nolan was last seen approximately around 3 p.m. on the northwest end of Horn Island. He was shirtless, wearing blue swim trunks and black sunglasses. A girl by the name of Katie had been with Nolan on the north end of the island earlier that day. Katie's mom has confirmed that her daughter has been in contact with Nolan's family, but had no insight into what happened after the two of them parted ways. At some point after 3 p.m., it sounds like it was closer to 4:30 p.m., the group of friends got back on the boat. They left the island, leaving without Nolan. And when they left, according to attorney Ben Crump, who would be the attorney representing the Wells family, they took Nolan's phone with them. According to the friends, they left without Nolan because Nolan said that he was good to stay by himself with no phone on a remote island that is about 8 miles off of the coast of Mississippi. Nolan was reported missing on the 4th, which was a Saturday. As soon as his parents heard that he did not return back with the group, they reported him missing and posted pictures of him all over social media asking for the public's help in finding him. On Monday, July 6, 2026, at around 8:45 a.m., a National Park Service ranger spotted a body in the water just off the northwestern tip of Horn Island. The following day, the Jackson County coroner confirmed by dental records that that body was that of Nolan Wells, who would be forever only 18 years old. His mom posted on social media after receiving the terrible news, quote, I want to thank our family, friends, community, United Cajun Navy, local law enforcement, and everyone involved for all of the love, support, and resources over the last few days. His father, our family, friends, and I are absolutely devastated. My heart is broken for our sweet son, who was always willing to cheer and uplift others. Nolan was a special soul, end quote. And here's where the story stops being a tragic accident and starts being something that very much demands a much closer look at the situation. Again, Ben Crump is the attorney representing Nolan's family. When he gave interviews on July 8th and 9th, he pointed out a video. Students who were present that day recorded footage in which an altercation can be heard in the background. That footage is now under investigation. Ben Crump has said that the independent investigators working on behalf of the Wells family were looking into whether a voice is the voice of Nolan Wells, because if it is, then it would mean that there is audio evidence of Nolan in a verbal confrontation with someone on the boat the same day that he never returned back home. A different report also stated that in the video, it sounds like someone who sounds like Nolan Wells can be heard saying, quote, give me my freaking phone, what are you freaking doing, end quote. And please don't think that I'm pointing out that potential argument as something that is supposed to describe Nolan's character at all, because it doesn't at all. But in an investigation such as this one, every single little detail matters, especially when it is a disappearance that leads up to a death. A death that makes absolutely no sense. And there's more, because when the Wells family received Nolan's phone back, the phone that had been apparently left on the boat when his friends left the island with him, messages have been deleted. Who deleted them, when and why is not something that has been publicly explained. The sheriff's office confirmed that it is aware of the phone and that the investigation remains active. Ben Crump also pointed out that investigators, quote, continue to tell the family that we don't see any evidence of any foul play, even though you have students who recorded an altercation while they were on the boats, end quote. The sheriff's office has said that it does not currently suspect foul play, but that the investigators are, quote, working diligently diligently to determine exactly what occurred. And they've stated that they have asked anyone with photos, videos, or eyewitness accounts from the northwest part of Horn Island on July 4th to come forward. If you want my personal opinion, to announce that quickly to the public that there is no foul play suspected is kind of insane. When they do not, I don't think, still have the autopsy results back. That is wild. So it was the day that the body was confirmed to be Nolan's that the Wells family began speaking with Ben Crump, an American attorney who specializes in civil rights and catastrophic personal injury cases such as wrongful death lawsuits. His involvement immediately signaled that the family believed that the official account of what happened to their son was incomplete at best. In interviews over the following 2 days, Ben Crump laid out the family's position and made it clear that the investigation was only just beginning. He said Nolan was a good swimmer. He said that the family did not believe that their son chose to stay on that island. He mentioned the altercation on the boat. He revealed the deleted messages, and he announced that Nolan's body would be flown to Washington, D.C. for an independent autopsy. Nolan's parents appeared on Good Morning America and CBS Mornings to speak publicly for the first time, where they again stated that they did not believe that their son chose to stay on that island alone. Quote, "No, he wouldn't. Nolan always stays with the group. If you are with me, you come back with me. So that I don't understand. And with me being a parent, if I was in that situation, I would have told them, you are getting back on this boat with me because I don't want to answer questions to your parents if something happens to you." When asked directly whether he believed that Nolan was left behind on the island, his father answered, quote, "Yes, I don't believe that he decided to stay on that island by himself. It just doesn't, that's not his character. His mother taught him to stay with his group. His friends knew it. Everyone who knew Nolan Wells by every account knew that." Ben Crump also addressed what he has described to be the family's deeper concern, not just about what happened to Nolan, but about who is investigating it. Quote, "The family is worried about Mississippi investigating the death of a young Black man where young people may be involved," end quote. And this is another quote from his mom. Quote, "This is not how I wanted the world to meet my son. Nolan is the kind of soul. He had never met a stranger. He loved everybody. He just wanted everyone to be at peace with one another." So as far as the friends that Nolan was with, do I think that they know a lot more than what they have said? 100%. Because if their entire story is, yeah, we just left and we left with his phone because he said that he would find another ride back, if that is all the information that you claim to have, it's not going to be enough. For anyone that has common sense, it's just not. Because then you're pretty much leaving the only explanation to be that he tried to swim back on his own. Nolan would not have attempted to swim back on his own. The island was at least 8 miles away from shore. No one would try to swim that far. That is just not what happened. So the one thing that has been confirmed is that Ashley Cole, the stepmother of one of the boys that was last seen with Nolan Wells, took to social media to try to dispel some information that was going around on Tuesday. Ashley Cole, who is a local judge, said that she deactivated her Facebook account amid the search for Nolan Wells after photos of her minor children began circulating online. She stated that she wants to help out in the investigation, but that her stepson doesn't know anything and that she wishes the Wells family the best. And her speaking out could be seen, very much so, as unusual or concerning because she is a sitting judge in Jackson County, the same county whose sheriff's office is actively investigating the case. Judges typically avoid making public statements about active investigations in their jurisdiction, specifically to protect the integrity of the investigation and to avoid the appearance of improper influence. And her position does give her an authority that not every single parent has, which makes her public statement carry more weight and raises questions about what her actual intentions were exactly supposed to be. She also chose to release a statement before the investigators could finish interviewing everyone, before the cause of death was established and before any official timeline had been confirmed. So by putting her version of events into the public first, she effectively shaped the narrative to be what she believes it to be at the most critical and earliest stage of the investigation. What I couldn't officially confirm as far as it being officially reported by authorities, but what people on social media have been talking about, is the fact that all of the boys' friends that Nolan was with deactivated and then deleted their social media accounts, and that they have all lawyered up. And hear me out when I say this, I personally don't think that they are wrong for lawyering up, because in a criminal investigation, whether you did do something or not, to want to protect yourself is normal. However, their actions now, having been lawyered up, is what is really going to tell us their true intentions, because if they have nothing to hide, if they did not do anything wrong, they should be fully and completely willing to cooperate in the investigation. All of their cards should be put out on the table, and they should do everything in their power to provide answers. But if they are lawyered up and they are now not willing to talk or provide additional evidence or sit in as many interviews as it takes until the truth is uncovered, then that's an entirely different story, because then the very valid question comes up of, well, what are you trying to hide? Does that make sense? Like, to me, the issue is not lawyering up. The issue would be not cooperating and not being able to keep your story straight. And I still keep going back to authorities publicly stating that no foul play seems to be involved before getting the autopsy results back is actual madness, as is the fact that this is being investigated as a death rather than a homicide, because this, to a lot of people, including myself, this does not feel accidental. I feel like we can all agree that there's a lot more to this story that is going to be revealed, but the one thing that we can hope for is that this all ends in justice for Nolan Wells and for his family. The results from the independent autopsy that the Wells family had done were expected by Friday, July 10th, so today, but at the time of recording this video, they have not yet been released. And I will end this video with a quote, "It is clear that this situation must have the most thorough and objective investigation to lead to justice. What we've been told does not make sense, and being that there is a lack of confidence in the local authorities who have already, in my judgment, seemed to have mishandled where it was going. When we hear that this young man was engaged in some kind of argument that was on tape, that his cell phone and keys ended up with one of the people that were there on the island and got away. He was one black man with 3 young white men who happened to end up with his phone, happened to end up with his keys. There's just too many questions. They should not be closing the investigation," end quote. So terrible and so sad and so scary. And again, the most important thing I feel like everyone can agree is getting justice for the Wells family. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see where this goes. And as of right now, on this case, that is it for me. Thank you for spending time with me today. I hope you guys are having the best day. If not, go do something to make it the best day. Make somebody happy, and I will see you in my next video. Massive kiss on the forehead to every single one of you. Oh, and if you're wondering if there are 2 videos missing that I posted on TikTok this week and they're no longer there, yeah, not my choice, TikTok's choice, but I already put one of those videos on YouTube, and I'll put the second one on YouTube so you guys can still watch it if you're interested. Anyway, I did not choose to delete them. Just wanted to make that clear. Anyway, love you guys.